All right. Welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom. George is out on the road today, so we might see him in the chat section, but he couldn't make the live stream. So it's just me. So the market is still open. I went a little early today so we could watch the close. What's happening? Sorry, we're just having some technical support. So Bitcoin had a huge rally, and now in the last little bit, it's pulling back. So we're at 39,600-ish. We got above. If you see, I got a red line here. We keep getting to this red line. And I was very encouraged. 20 minutes ago, this green candle happened, and then this was a big green candle. You can see it got up to 39.8. We can't quite seem to get to 40,000, and now we've had a little pullback. So hopefully this is just a little breather, and we get above this line. Miguel's asking, is the market broken today? CleanSpark and Riot are green. What happened? CleanSpark and Riot. Yeah, I'll tell you, the Bitcoin miners are not keeping pace today. So if you go across the board, because Bitcoin this is where we closed yesterday. So that's why I make these orange lines. So from the close of the U.S. market yesterday, which is that's what these Bitcoin miners closed at, until now, I mean, Bitcoin's up over 2%. So we should have big moves on the day. We've got three things in the red. We've got CleanSpark that was red almost all day long. It's finally now green. It's up 1.5%. And, some things are behaving okay. Bitfarms, RIOT, Riot, Marathon, Cores, they're all up 4 or 5%. So that's fair enough when Bitcoin's up 2%, if they're up 4%. But given the amount we've been lagging behind, I would have thought, I really feel like we got to break through this line right here before people start piling back in. We got to get it actually probably really above 40,000. If we could get a close above 40,000, maybe we could get some money back into these miners. And we're going green again here, so we still got 7 minutes left. Dano is asking me, what are your thoughts on Iris? So I will tell you, I don't own Iris. I'm going to pull it up. The reason I don't own Iris, and this is another one of these things. So this is where it gets tricky with these Bitcoin miners. These guys have big plans, and they're starting to execute them right now. They are mining Bitcoin. They're not giving a monthly update. Hold on. These guys are giving a monthly update, so they must have been on my chart. Let's take a look. So that's a big deal for me. They need to give a monthly update. So Iris is giving a monthly update, but the problem is you'll see their market cap. Their market cap is $861 million. And that's probably fair value, but all the rest of the Bitcoin miners are so incredibly undervalued. Most of the companies that are doing 2 or 3 or 4 times the business that Iris is doing right now have a smaller or similar market cap. So it's very hard to it all depends on what's the most important thing to you. You got some people care about how much Bitcoin's on the balance sheet. What's the hodl position? Some people care about, what have you done for me today? What's your exahash rate? How many Bitcoin did you mine in February? And then, some people say, listen, they got a bunch of money on the balance sheet and they got a lot of machines coming. So these market caps are all over the place. It's very inconsistent throughout the Bitcoin mining industry. So that is the reason. It's not that I don't like Iris. I don't hold them because I think they are out ahead of some of the other Bitcoin miners. So, I mean, I wouldn't sell them if I had them, but I don't, but I'm not holding them right now. So we still got 4 minutes left and we're going green again here, 39,762. See, it just surprises me how little price action all of these got. I mean, Bitfarms was up 3% down here. You know, now we have this massive run up and it's up 4.5%. That's... So everything, I feel like everything's underreacting. Argo's down. There's always the contrarians in here too. Argo's down for whatever reason today. And Iris is down 7%. And there's no reason for them to be down 7% today. What's the difference between today and yesterday? Wolf has been on a wild ride. So they do whatever they do. They went down, you know, 70% and then up 150%. So they're on their own little journey. But let's look at that. I don't know why I'm not remembering what their numbers were. Oh, I think they have 0.84 exahash right now. So they're mining. They're up and running. And let's check and let me see what's... Yeah, so they have 0.84 exahash of mining that's up and running. So this is one of these companies where, do you care about this? They have, so they say a leading sustainable Bitcoin miner, which is building an institutional grade infrastructure platform with 15 exahash of secured miners, 10 exahash expected to be operational by early 2023. So that's what's going to happen. And I think they've got already these miners on purchase order and, you know, deposits. So you got that factor in the price, but then you got the factor that right now, in the month of February, they were less than 1 exahash. So to me, they have a bigger market cap than Bitfarms, Hut 8, and Hive. And all of those are doing, you know, triple or quadruple the amount of mining. These guys mined 110 Bitcoin. Oh, don't get me wrong, that's good, and I think they keep improving. And obviously, you know, if they're going to get to 10 exahash by early 2023, I'm going to go back here because it's almost the end of the day. You know, if they're going to get 10 exahash, 15 exahash, they're going to be competing as one of the large miners. But they're not there yet. So that's how I look at it. Everybody has a different way of putting a valuation on these miners. I'm really very focused on how's the balance sheet and how is your current mining going. You know, what's your current exahash rate? Are you getting efficiency out of your exahash rate? Bitcoin's dropping just a little at 359. So we'll see. This red, I'm going to pay attention. This is what I'm going to pay attention to during this. This red line right here, we got to start closing. You can see we tried. This was yesterday. So we tried yesterday and failed. This looks like we succeeded, but we didn't. We basically went up and then straight down, so we failed there. So this is the line. This is really, you know, we went way up and way down quickly here, so this line goes back to March 4th. We got to get back over 40,000. That's like step one of many. 40,000, 46,000. 46,000 and we're back on the bull run. That's my opinion. 40,000 and we've got some momentum going. JJT, I don't know what happened to Canon today. I think they got decimated, and maybe that was yesterday they got decimated. I don't know why. Let's take a look. Spell what's the proper? Not cannabis. So they were okay today, plus 3%. But yesterday, they were down like something outrageous, like 15% or something, just out of the blue. Where's the historical data? Yeah, so they went from $4.23 down to $3.35 yesterday. And I think that's their 52-week low that they hit yesterday. So I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. They had all, it's not like they reported earnings yesterday, and their earnings have been decent. So this cannon that I'm looking at, I don't know that these guys even mine at all. These guys make mining machines. They make and sell mining machines. So they're the pick and shovel play on this. Let's go to their, let's see if I can go to their, translate. Yes. Yeah, see these guys are making the machines. Maybe they have a small mining operation that I don't know about, but that's not the main thing they do. I'm surprised they don't even talk about the ASIC machines on there. Join, get to know. All right, well, I'll dig into that later. I've dug into, I think I did a video on these guys. And the other thing is, unfortunately, with foreign relations being the way they are, they're a Chinese company, and I think they take a hit for that. I read an article that tried to explain why they were down, but it didn't make any sense to me. It's like, all the government taxation, regulations, government interference absolutely destroyed its decentralized status. That was the whole appeal to Bitcoin to begin with. Well, it's definitely a lot of, Levi said that, it's definitely a lot of, creating a lot of FUD right now. But I still feel like in the end, this stuff is going to do what it's supposed to do. But they're gonna fight it along the way. Because it's competition. It's competition for, it's so small yet that it's not really. But what they're worried about is that eventually all this decentralized cryptocurrency, if this reaches some kind of critical mass, it's a threat to the dollar or, whatever your fiat currency is. All of a sudden, this is going to be competing with that. Now, there are countries making their own currency, their own cryptocurrency, and that was a part of the executive order, was that the United States is going to look into making their own centralized currency, cryptocurrency. So, but again, to me, that is not competition to Bitcoin, because that's still just fiat money, really. Manuel is asking me, hey, Tom, are you still increasing your investment in Bitfarms? I still am, and yes, I still am as well. I bought Bitfarms yesterday. I didn't buy anything today because we were by and large green. If I have 250 things on my watch list, I would say I had 5 things red today, and everything, regardless of the size or sector, was green today. It was just unbelievable. Most of it was those, we had 3 Bitcoin miners that were red, and my Paramount Plus was in the red today. So, but that's okay because it was up out of the blue. For those of you following along, I think I did it. Yeah, I did. I did 2 videos on Paramount, and in the platinum section of the Discord, I recommended an option, and it ended up 4xing. So I'm now out of that option. So, you know, a little pullback in Paramount. It was red today, but it went ballistic yesterday. So I'm okay with that. But everything else, I mean, we're just green all over. Want to see a breakout and hold 52.5. Yeah, that's 52 is another key line. I just feel so far away, but Bitcoin moves fast. I mean, we've seen it. So 40, it'd be nice to hold 40. It'd be nice to break above 45, because let me go to my other, like this line. Here's my line at 45,000. You can see 3 times we got to this, but we got rejected. And, you know, we haven't been above 45,000 since January 5th. So all of 2022, I was going to say 2002, all of 2022, we've been below 45.5. So I've been saying, you know, every time we keep getting up here, I'm like, okay, if we can just close at 46, the bull runs on. But, you know, every time we keep not getting it. So maybe this is the time. Yesterday, obviously, these are daily candles. So yesterday was a huge green candle. Right now, we pulled way back and came all the way back. So you can't even see the line. It's right there. It's a sliver. We're right where we started on the day today. So if we can go green today and, you know, get above this line and stay above 40, get above this line, you know, get to maybe 46, then we can start trying to make a run at 52, and then 57, and then, you know, 69,000 is the all-time high. So I'm still looking at those numbers. I know, you know, everybody's been discouraged for a long time, but we're hanging out, plus or minus, call it 40,000. And all these Bitcoin miners are very profitable at $40,000 Bitcoin, despite what I've seen some short reports and other things say. And I'm going to, what I want to do is, and you guys tell me if this is of interest to you, I want to strip out all the nonsense out of all these income statements and just compare Bitcoin miners' monthly operations, not all the non-operational, non-cash, or, you know, stock compensation, all those things that don't have anything to do with monthly operations. To me, that's the best way to compare these miners, because those are their real costs, and that's what's going to happen. The other things they can adjust and deal with. But, you know, it's the old, I don't know why the Bitcoin miners' income statements are so convoluted. There's so many things on there that you just don't see on almost any other income statement. And a lot of it is the accounting rules are funky, and they're different in different countries. And, you know, you got recognized gains, unrecognized gains. You could have unrecognized gains and unrecognized losses on the same incomes. It doesn't make any sense. But all that doesn't matter if you're holding your cryptocurrency. Good afternoon, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I think we're very range bound. I mean, if you look at this daily, like, this is the whole year. This is the whole year this year. So yeah, we dipped below this a little bit once. We candle wicked below this, but we've been between these two lines. We've been between 37,000 and 46,000 all year this year, and we keep going from the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom. So it's time to go back to the top. Let me get rid of that. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Bitfarms up 4.7. Barry's saying on the NASDAQ it was up 4.7, but the Canadian listing was up 3.1%. That's a big difference. I would have thought those really mirrored each other more closely. Jury, you're in space. This one's a great trading play. I'm afraid of it, but if you've got, if you've got a handle on that and you know what it's doing, that thing goes up and down. I mean, there's people making, well, there's people losing money that don't get it, but if you've got what this thing is doing, that is a great trading stock. Break 52, go straight to 800. All right, Jeff, I'm in. I'll vote for that. I'll take going to 70. That's a great first step. There's no reason we shouldn't be making a run at the all-time high with Bitcoin. With everything that's going on, everything is pointing in that direction. So, the bears are hanging on, but I feel like they're hanging on, and they're losing their grip. We're gonna get there. Levi Christian said, I have been purchasing Cyberlux. They are a digital technology platform company diversified in multiple areas. Rumor has it they're going to be jumping into Bitcoin mining or supplying power. I don't know Cyberlux. I know Luxfolio. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, Cyberlux. Let's see what's going on. Holy moly. This is a $1.9 million market cap. So you are in on the ground floor on this one. That's not even a micro cap. That's a wow. But a lot of trading volume. Well, it's at 1.44 cents. So massive trading volume, so very liquid, but I don't know. I mean, if this thing's going to go somewhere, it's less than $2 million market cap. So if it's got a future ahead of it, I'll look into this. I never do videos on anything this small, but I'll look into it and talk about it on the next stream or something. I'm not sure. It sounds like they're getting into the crypto world, but I'm not sure what they're doing yet. And this is, I can't even remember the last time I've seen a company this small. I know there's a bunch out there. And I know there's a lot of money to be made in a lot of these ultra small market caps. Like, look, they're up 13% in one day. So that's pretty easy when you're at a penny. So this is an actual penny stock. There's a definition for a penny stock, but this one really is a penny. Yeah, you know what? I still haven't done, I said I was going to do this. I still have not done a MicroStrategy video. So they were up, they performed very well today. Up 7%. They're at 396. Their low is 307, but they've been almost to 900. I mean, this is a slightly leveraged play on Bitcoin. It's much less leveraged. See, it's funny. There's different ways of looking at this. This is how I look at this. I mean, obviously, this has turned into just a Bitcoin play. That's what Michael Saylor is doing over there now. And since they do borrow money, they have debt, so that makes it a leveraged Bitcoin play. But the question is, the Bitcoin miners, in my mind, are an even much more leveraged Bitcoin play. And the reason for that is when MicroStrategy gets a coin, a Bitcoin, so they have they're amassing huge amounts of Bitcoin. But they have to buy it at the market. When a Bitcoin miner gets a Bitcoin, they mine it for whatever the energy cost is. And obviously, you've got operational cost and all those other things. But the theory is once they get to scale, they're going to be mining Bitcoin. most of those claim to be in the 80% gross profit. Some of them claim a higher gross profit than that. So all MicroStrategy's getting is whatever increase there is on Bitcoin. And I'm bullish on Bitcoin, so I think there's going to be a big increase. So if these guys were at 900, I think they're going to go back to 900 and beyond. But I don't know if they're going to go faster than the Bitcoin miners. The negative side of the Bitcoin miners is a lot of them need to raise a lot of money still. So, you know, it works both ways. He's saying I got in early on, I think he's talking about that. Which one? Oh, on Space? Or on HYMC? I know that one's been having some wild days as well. Yeah, Jury's saying seller often bought at the high price because of his balance, I think. I mean, I think he dollar cost averaged in, and there were several times where it just seemed like it was absolutely like one day too early. I can remember a couple of times where he made big purchases over the course of, you know, and he does it over the course of short periods of time, and then all of a sudden, you know, Bitcoin took a hit, and it's like, well, if he would have waited a week, but, you know, some weeks, if you could have waited a week, you'd do better. Some weeks, if you could have waited a week, you do worse. So I think he just keeps dollar cost averaging in. And I mean, if you listen to Michael Saylor, he doesn't think there's any difference between 40,000 and 50,000 based on where he thinks Bitcoin is going. So all of those, to him, all that's the same because, you know, he's expecting multiples of where it's currently trading at right now. So I hope he's right, and I am too. I still expect there to be a huge, continuous run in Bitcoin. Yeah, MicroStrategy is not borrowing money like from the bank. They're doing debt, bonds, and that kind of stuff. So it's at a very low rate. Versus the Bitcoin miners, which I know still have to pay, you know, they borrow money. Some of them have started to be able to borrow money to buy Bitcoin mining machines. They weren't even able to do that a year ago. But now they're doing that, but they pay a pretty good premium, 9 to 12% interest, which is very high in this environment. But yeah, MicroStrategy's interest rate is very low. So it should be inconsequential versus the gains on Bitcoin in theory, as long as Bitcoin's doing what we all think it's going to do. Barry's saying Saylor is as close as Bitcoin can get to a spokesman. I think he is the corporate spokesperson for Bitcoin. And, you know, he holds these conferences and for corporations, for large corporations, and these guys all come listen to him. And I think they're probably a lot more adoption out there than we realize. So, you know, everybody's still laying low because there's still regulations and you know, all this. I've been listening to Kevin O'Leary all day today. He's gone out everywhere. Anyone who will listen to him, he's screaming at the top of his lungs to sell all these Bitcoin miners. Jeff, I have not looked at the supermarket stocks yet. Thank you for reminding me of that. Every day seems to run out. I got a list of stuff I want to look at, and that was one of them. I'm just checking in real quick. So we're pulling back a little. We're at 39.5. I'm really hoping we take a run at this line. So we'll see. So, like, this is a little off topic, but like these are all the EV stocks. So, you know, this is another sector. If you guys follow, I basically have it sorted. Tesla, NIO, XPeng, Lee, Rivian, Lucid. Those are the large cap, and obviously Tesla is the ultra large cap. That's one of the biggest companies in the world. And then everything below that is pretty much a small cap to a micro cap. There seems to be only two kinds of EV stocks. They're either worth billions and billions or almost nothing. So, but today you can see across the board, this was just a ultra green day. The large cap, I mean, Tesla got back over 800, so, but that's up for Tesla to be up 4.6% is dramatic, right? I mean, they're an $800 billion company. NIO. Hey! We got a special guest in the chat. Hello, Poop Dynasty, aka George. So anyway, I do a lot of videos down here, so I don't know if you guys watch these or not, but these companies are oversold beyond belief. Most of these companies from this point down, and not every single one of them, but most of them are down somewhere between 70 and 95% over the last 13 or 14 months. So, you know, that's for two reasons. Number one, last December going into January of 2021 and February of 2021, there was definitely a bubble. Everything, all the small caps ran up to an unrealistic place, but to run down 90% is mind-boggling. One of these I did a video on today. It was down from its high to its low. It was down 96%. I mean, you almost can't even be down 96%. It's inconceivable. Well, it's conceivable, but it's unbelievable. George! Jeff says George. What are you thinking about, George? Throw something at us. So today I think I did. So the three that I did today, there was actually was two EV stocks and another stock. Today was very green. I thought we were going to get back about a month and a half ago. I ended up doing 5 videos in about a week and a half with 3 or 4 stocks per video, all of which were hitting their 52-week low or all-time low. So that was back, if you remember, at the end of January. It was just brutal. So I haven't done one of those in a while, and then yesterday was another one of those days. I had on my watch, I probably have something like 200 stocks on my watch list. But for 15 or 20 of them to be at their 52-week low, that's really bad. And we were back there again yesterday. Now today was big time green. Let's just see what what's the final tally here. So the NASDAQ had a huge day, up 2.9%. And the Dow was up 1.8%. S&P was up over 2%. And the Russell was 1.4%. So the NASDAQ was the huge mover. But the S&P, which is the broadest range of the market, that was up over 2%. So today was green. It's like I said, everything I saw was green everywhere. The only red you're seeing here is the same company, Argo and Wolf. So those are some Bitcoin miners that were red for some reason, but nothing. Like if you go back here, this is I don't know if it's all of them, but this has got to be 20 EV companies. They are all green. Arrow was at 0. That was the worst performer. But, you know, Lee, which is a multi-billion-dollar company, is up 12% in one day. However, NIO, XPeng, and Lee have been getting destroyed recently. George says sell. It's a good day to sell. And oil is way down. I know. And you know, I did not do this today. What I was going to do today, and I didn't do it, I was going to make a little hedge and get some oil into the portfolio. Because oil's been dropping the last 4 or 5 days in a row. These are big drops. Now, it's still at a huge number. $95 a barrel is not sustainable for our economy. That is a bad place to be. But, you know, last week we were in an absolute panic that it was going to go to 200 or 300. And now all of a sudden it's down 5, 6, 7% every day. So... And really, the real thing that surprises me is this could be a giant setup. Because tomorrow, the Fed's going to tell us what they're doing. So I thought I had this figured out, but, you know, you never end up having this figured out. I was, and I'm still going to say I still am, although today's price action makes me feel like I'm wrong. I think we're going to get a 1/4 point increase tomorrow. So you guys let me know in the chat what you think the Fed is going to do tomorrow. I'm convinced it's a 1/4 point. I think they can't do nothing. Otherwise, they just lose their own credibility. They've been, you know, talking about drastic measures. They had an emergency meeting, and if all of that results in them doing nothing, that would be hard for me to believe. So a 1/4 point, I think, is by far the most likely case scenario. But for a while, you know, it seemed like a 1/2 point was kind of built in. And so I'm wondering if we ran up big time today. This often happens, you know, a sell the news situation where all of a sudden we're going to get a surprise tomorrow and it's 0.5 and have a gigantic red day tomorrow. That's my fear. So we'll see. I can't believe they would do that. It doesn't make sense to me to raise it 0.5 right now, but I do think that would cause a very red day tomorrow. And now I'm worried. You know, I thought this would be the red day and tomorrow would be a great day to buy. Getting, you know, the Fed behind us is usually a good thing. SARK, yes, Jeff saying SARK calls on green days. Yeah, there's a bunch. I just did a video on 6 different things you can do to kind of hedge these, really hedge the volatility. You know, because everyone's always saying we're in market correction, we're in a bear market, we're in a crash, we're this or that, and you know, usually we've seen some crashes, but that's not what typically happens. But we do get bear markets. We're in one right now, or at least the Russell 2000 and the NASDAQ are in one. Although up 2.92%, they might just be underneath right now. How do interest rates, Eric's asking, how do interest rates curb inflation? It's about oil and supply chains. Well, I think that's why I think they have to do something or they're going to lose face, because, you know, they've been screaming they're going to do, you know, massive rate hikes. But this global situation is a little different than any one that's presented us in the past. With the things that you mentioned, with oil, the supply chain, we've got some other geopolitical stuff going on that I'm not sure what impact interest rates are going to have, and you know, they can only raise them so high. That's just the bottom line. We can't move back into a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8% interest environment. You know, I think at 8%, then 100% of the tax collected in the United States would go to pay interest on the debt. So that's not going to happen. I am not familiar with JJTS. Are you familiar with C Limited? Let's see. Let's see what C Limited is. 46. So this is a big company. Is this France? What do these guys do? Does anybody else know this company? Digital entertainment, e-commerce, digital financial service businesses in Southeast Asia, Latin America, the rest of Asia, and internationally. I don't know anything about these guys at all. Industry, electronic gaming, and multimedia. I don't know. Are they crashing? Well, this looks like they're pretty close to their 52-week low. Yeah, from $322. So that's a long way down. But unfortunately, I don't know these guys. So I have nothing meaningful to add. Slow down demand on the oil. Is that what you're saying, Jeff? I think that, you know, demand is down from where it was a while ago, but it seems like it's going up because, you know, with the lockdowns and everything, demand got so low that we're actually now coming up off of those lows, but we're still not back to where we were a couple of years ago. Yeah, so that's a big range. So from 3 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Bitcoin had a 4% range. So, and look, I mean, this is, I can't draw a line, so I have to use their lines. Like, this was an up day. That's just an uptrend all day from 3 o'clock in the morning, basically until close. We pulled back a teeny little bit at the close here. Kathy Wood crypto play. What's she doing? Yeah, Barry, it looks like China's starting to lock things down. They got an outbreak again, I guess. JJT saying, C is a nice company to dive into on a slow, rainy Sunday morning. Yeah, that's when I catch up. That's when I stand any chance of catching up or looking at some new stocks, is on Saturday and Sunday. It's so hard during the week. Yeah, Eric, the demand is just now getting back to pre-pandemic, so, which is not, unfortunately, it's not good timing versus everything else that's going on. But, I mean, oil was down 7.6% today. That's a meaningful move down. Gold, I read an article like 4 days ago. Gold had just popped over $2,000, and this guy said, you're never going to be able to buy gold for less than $2,000 ever again. And like the next day it was under 2,000. It's been under ever since. Gold, I mean, I usually knock gold. It's been, if you invested in gold over the last 25 years, you have not done very well. You have nowhere near kept up with the equities, and you certainly, you know, you're massively behind the cryptocurrency. But I will say that in 2022, and it's only 2.5 months old right now, silver, gold, and oil are the top 3 things. So I don't think that's going to be true at the end of the year. If it is, then we had a bad year. Because even gold, well, it was up, I think it's up 8% on the year. So, you know, gold doesn't do, it's never, you're never going to get a 60%. Well, I shouldn't say that, but you're unlikely to ever get a rush on this. It's a slow, steady deal. And, you know, the reason it's leading everything else is anything positive at all. All these guys are so negative this year. This has been, the start to this year is brutal. I mean, I don't know how you guys are doing, but the indexes are not doing well. The cryptocurrencies are not doing well. So it's like there's very little place to hide. China has a zero tolerance COVID policy, says Eric. Yeah, hey, listen, they lock it down. There's talk that the U.S. currency is not going to be the oil currency. I don't know what they would replace that with. So I don't know. Everybody's very worried about the U.S. dollar, and I know we're having inflation in the U.S. I think everybody's suffering from inflation all around the world. I mean, you guys are from different parts of the world. Let me know how inflation's going where you are. I mean, I feel it. I feel inflation. I feel it at the most obvious place is at the gas pump, but at the grocery store, I mean, there's stuff that's up big time. My weekly grocery bill is up. The price of meat in the United States is up big time. And so, I mean, you can feel it. It's hitting people. But at the moment, I mean, there's just not another currency out there that I could see swapping out as the world's currency. Ultimately, something like Bitcoin might do that. But I mean, Bitcoin's not even worth $1 trillion right now. It's $1 trillion is a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to the currency. The amount of assets in the world. So it's even not even 1/10 of what gold is. But I do think someday that that could be an answer, and no government is going to like that answer. Having a decentralized situation would be very brutal to most fiat currencies. I'm just reading. Manuel is asking, hey, Tom, what do you think of Bitfarms announcing news first working day of every month? It's nice, but it seems like they hold the news, or it seems like they hold the news on installed hash rate for a few days. I mean, I feel good about Bitcoin's information flow. They're doing their monthly. Most of these guys have gotten on board. There's 4 or 5 that are not giving monthly updates that I know. See, this is the thing. Like Bitfarms, there's a couple of them getting them out on the first day of the month. So you know that these other companies know what they're mining. At least you hope. If they don't know what they're mining, then that's even worse. So just tell us what you're mining, right? That's the beauty of this industry. It is rare to come across an industry where you can get data like this, where, you get, here's the amount that we mined on a monthly basis. So by inference, basically, they're giving you their revenue per month. And here's our exahash rate. You can pretty much just do the math. And, here's the machines we bought. A lot of times they'll tell you the cash they spent, or a lot of these updates, some are more brief than others, but I think Bitfarms puts out a very good monthly update. Barry, yes. Have you looked at the inverse relationship between the US dollar and Bitcoin? I know that absolutely exists on paper. I don't know that is going to hold up over time, but it definitely, when the dollar gets strong, that has not been good for Bitcoin at all. So, but I gotta believe, I just feel like ultimately Bitcoin is going to decouple from everything and be its own thing. It's just not there yet. But I think we're way closer than we were. I do think we're done with all these, and this last year proved it. We did not get the blow off top, run up to 150,000 in Bitcoin. I think we're done with crypto winter and those kind of things. not bear markets. Like we're in, arguably in a bear market right now in crypto. So, but that's natural. All markets have a bear market, but I do think we're done with these long periods of just being down and out. Previously it got to the point where it wasn't worth mining Bitcoin. The crypto winter. That's what a crypto winter is, when it's down so much that it costs more to mine it than you make. And we are so far from that world right now. It's ridiculous. So I think we're going to have bull markets and bear markets. I think the price of Bitcoin is going to go up and to the right, just like the stock market has done for the last 100 years. I think it's coming into its own, but obviously it doesn't seem like it, but it's still very early in the cryptocurrency world. So that's what I believe. That's where I think it's going. Is it going to have bumps along the way? I think we're in a bump along the way right now. So what do you think about the stock to flow chart in Bitcoin? I think that has been invalidated. And you don't hear that much about it right now, but that was a very unpopular. Plan B was everybody's superhero, so I kind of kept to myself. I think that followed along, but there's been some fundamental changes. The first thing is almost all the North American Bitcoin miners are holding all of their Bitcoin, which undermines the premise of the stock to flow model. So just for that reason alone, I don't think it's going to hold up over time. And now, at this point, we are now off of that model. And, eventually every line crosses every line. So if we catch back up to it, you could say, oh, we're back on. But I feel like that, just the premise of that doesn't make sense anymore, and it's surrounding supply and it's surrounding the halvings. But if the Bitcoin miners are going to keep all the Bitcoin that they mine, then, that the supply is not increasing. So there's no new Bitcoin, not none, but there's much less new Bitcoin coming onto the market than everybody thought there would be, because so many miners are holding their Bitcoin and so many people are taking their Bitcoin off chain that, there's less Bitcoin available than ever right now. So I think that's going to catch up, right? The supply-demand thing isn't working at the moment for Bitcoin. There's some other factors that are pushing it around a little bit, but eventually that's going to catch up, in my opinion. Robbie's asking ESG. I mean, ESG is a factor. Like it, don't like it, whatever you want. It's absolutely... for whatever reason, and I feel like they are picking on the Bitcoin miners because, compared to pretty much any other industry, the Bitcoin miners are doing much, much better. I was looking at this, 80-something% of energy used is not green in the world. So I guarantee you that the North American Bitcoin miners are doing 3 or 4 times better than that. Yet they're the ones that everybody's picking on. So show me an industry that's doing better than Bitcoin is doing on and I'm talking about the E in ESG, because I think that's what everybody's fixated on, is the environment and having clean energy. But I mean, these companies, it should not be the expectation that these companies have to be 100% clean or else they're dirty. Hey, Mark Twain, good to see you. I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. I don't think it's a fair expectation. I don't think there's going to be very few companies, there's going to be very few industries, probably none ever, that are going to be 100% green. We're so far away from 100% green. I mean, I did some deep dive on this in the middle of the night a few nights ago, and just looked at all the different energy sources, country by country, worldwide. You pick there is no country that's even close to 50% green. Most of the countries are somewhere around 20%. Some are worse. So why does a Bitcoin miner have to, if a Bitcoin miner is 90% green energy, to me, that's a grand slam home run. That's not a failure. And I know a lot of them aren't at 90%, so a lot of them have progress to be made. But the part that I don't get is, all right, you got all the way to 90% green, and now you're going to start spending money on carbon credits to get yourself to 100%. It doesn't, to me, that doesn't make sense. Like, I like the environment just as much as the next guy, but, we got to live in a world of reality. Most energy is not green. So to hold them to a standard of perfection it's not reasonable. Saudi Arabia is in talks with China to sell oil in is that the Chinese currency? Yuan? I mean, that's possible. Let's see how much energy, Jeff's saying, let's see how much energy the tech companies are using. Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon. Right. I mean, they use a massive amount of... Let me ask you this. Forget how much energy are using. What percent of it's green? I can guarantee you all those companies you just listed are nowhere near 50% green energy. Audit process is broken. Are you talking about the carbon credit audits? What process? Ravi, talk to me. I mean, the problem with oil, we all know what the problem with oil is right now. Russia's one of the world's leading suppliers of oil, and if we have a situation over there where that's turns into a problem, then it's a problem for the world. This is what happened in the 70s. We didn't run out of oil in the 70s. It wasn't getting supplied to us, so, things spiraled. ESG audits. Yeah, I mean, what's the standard? It's very hard. Mark Twain saying Bitcoin makes the most sense for Saudi Arabia. I'd love to see any Bitcoin adoption anywhere benefits us. Here we go. We're off of our highs. So we kind of closed the day on a high, and we're pulling back a little. Let's hope that stops. Stop. Just a sovereign fund. So I know that's what Kevin O'Leary's talking about. And I'm not gonna dig into that on this, but I'm gonna do a separate video digging into that. So anybody else got any thoughts? I just wanted to wrap the day up. I thought, I felt like this was a good day. We got a green day. All the markets, all the indexes were green. My watch list was green. Probably mostly most of the Bitcoin miners were green. I did want to mention that stock ticker MIGI, Mawson Infrastructure, they put out their results today. So they're a little late, and I knew they did the same thing last month. They seem to be putting them out on the 15th of the month. But these guys I've been ignoring maybe a little bit. I'm impressed with what they're doing. So I haven't looked at the ESG portion and all that other stuff. I'm just looking at their actual mining results and operational results. they put out a very good release, and their market cap is still small. So I may do a video on them, although from what I can tell and looking through YouTube, absolutely nobody cares about seeing a video on them, but I might do one anyway. Yes, Mark, tomorrow is rate hike day, so I'm expecting a 1/4 point. Let me know what you're thinking. I was expecting a 1/4 point and a nice green day tomorrow, but now today kind of threw me for a loop with this gigantic green day. Hard for me to believe right now we're going to have 2 big green days in a row, but that would be nice. And it would be nice if Bitcoin turns around and breaks some of these lines of resistance. Great day, buy the dip. I bought the dip yesterday. I bought a bunch yesterday, but I did not buy anything today. Everything was green, and I just let it roll. I didn't sell anything today. So today was just, JJT said, great day. Great live stream. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everybody. As always, thanks for joining me, and I appreciate it a lot. Great conversation. And thanks for watching the videos and leaving comments. It's tough. I know YouTube views are down all over because investors are depressed, but we got to rally. We're gonna have a comeback. I'll just end it with Mark Twain is saying a 1/4. Yeah, and then he's saying it's going to come down to the language they use after. Right. What are they going to kind of forecast or foreshadow is coming ahead? That is probably more important than the 1/4 of a point they're going to do. All right, so thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it so much. Have a great night, and I will see you either in the